have like separate, like do you have a, like, I mean, obviously this is its own social, and then like do you have like a personal and professional?
I tend to treat Facebook more like social, personal, you know, because it's like old people are on there, older than me, and but then Instagram is kind of more like, it seems like Instagram wants you to be like, here's my podcast and my comedy, and I feel like on Facebook, if I do too much of that, it's almost like he should be posting pictures of his kids, you know, like it's almost like, maybe that's just in my head, but I have this like movie in my head of like all my Christian kids' grandparents like judging me for being a narcissist, you know. I don't know, I struggle a lot with that, like the idea of like, this is so fun to do this, but just being like, it's my head talking, you know, like look at it, like do y'all struggle with that?
And promoting yourself,
promoting yourself. She struggles with that so hard.
I
do too.
I have to promote her shows for her, so she feels better about it.
Because it's just like nice. me, look at me.
Yeah, we've had this conversation before. Yeah,
come to my show. Are you tired? Because my Instagram, I feel like I'm yelling. Sorry. My Instagram.
Yell. It's fine.
I have it for like all business. So it's just like comedy shows or like events or anything fun that's happening. And then my close friends, that they see more of my personal life. So like I don't show kids. I don't show my partner, like unless it's my close friends list. That's how I feel.
It sounds like you don't show your partner the personal things on your Instagram. I don't show my partner. He has no idea.
I don't want them to know
he sees me as a professional and nothing else.
Yeah. I mean, I like that. I would prefer that the internet just be that way, where it's like, I've been, you know, burning CDs in my band since the 90s and being like, I'm distributing my art. That's public. I don't want people necessarily seeing my kids' first day of school.
Absolutely.
But it's what we're doing. So it's like, that's kind of the thing I'm more uncomfortable with, is that there's pressure to do that. Whereas like, I kind of like that it's like my comedy or my music is just that's what I choose to show you. That's my public facing persona.
Absolutely.
And I guess this is interesting because we're just getting into this, and this is a lot more personal, so I kind of I think when I'm old I'll enjoy maybe these conversations,
or you'll think it's super cringe.
I know. Well, that,
like, oh, why
I'm okay with that.
Why am I doing a podcast?
I'm old enough to be like, cringe is, you got to go through the cringe.
You're like right on that cusp, Amanda.
He sent me, I'm so close to being uncringeable. He sent me a video
uncringeable
of like me starting my show last week, and I was like,
oh yeah, I did, my bad.
This is so uncomfortable.
Oh yeah,
it's like
I know that feeling.
You're
like in the moment, pure bliss.
Yeah.
And then you go back and watch it, and you're like, I should just fucking kill myself.
When you have a good set and you feel amazing and you know you could watch it again, and you're like, why? I'm not going to watch it tonight because I want to feel good for a week about, like, why would I immediately disprove that this is working to myself?
I can't stand watching myself.
Oh, it was bad.
I hate it.
I hated it.
Like, I just listened to these, and then, but I heard from like younger people that like people watch podcasts. So I will put it up and I will clip a reel, but I like to listen to it. I think it's more mind blowing to just hear our voices and imagine everything.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I have a bad voice. I apologize, everybody. I have a terrible voice.
We'll put some reverb on it. It'll be fun.
I've been in the spa industry for 15 years, so like I have a professional spa voice
Yeah.
that I put on.
Keep going.
And for the longest time, everybody was like, "You should do ASMR."
I can see that.
Yeah.
Just get like really close and whispery on the mic. I've been trying to go that direction more.
Yeah.
Because I think at first it was like, I need to be loud and be heard, but I've started to sort of like when like comics will start a bit like real chill, and then you have headroom to get loud instead of just yelling the whole time. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get more chill with it. Like be confident enough to be like slower, chiller, and more quiet instead of just like, I'm yelling because I don't want anybody to heckle me, or it can almost be defensive to be loud, I think.
Fair enough.
Yes, I can see that. But it's like if you're like a false confidence.
Yeah, I'm self-conscious on my voice a little bit, not much. I know it's ridiculous, but I've listened to myself so many times, and I was like, man, I have a terrible voice. And then it was confirmed when I went to record lines for like an actual cartoon. It was like a comedy cartoon, and I did like I record lines for a character.
Or drop that in there.
A couple characters.
My voice sucks, but that's why I get off on all this.
But I'm kind of a big deal.
No, I'm saying no. Let me finish here.
Is he bragging or hating on himself? I can't tell.
Yes.
I always hated my voice, and I did like two different characters for the cartoon, and literally we took so many takes because the guy running it didn't really like it, and he's like, "So, do you have any ability to have bass in your voice at all, or no?" I was like, oh, okay. I didn't
Just
have
a person saying a shitty
I
thing
didn't
to
have
you.
a professional verify that I have a
I
bad
bet that
voice
person did not
before.
have kids. You know, they're like, I'm just gonna ruin someone's day. That sounds just like
Yeah.
the guy that said the other thing. It's the same guy, I bet.
It's the same. It's just one person.
He's
saying-
Can I ask you a question about your voice? And you're like, sure, go ahead. Do you deliberately just have no bass?
bass.
So it's like
I was like, damn.
He just blatantly
That's
asked
not
you
even
if your
true,
balls
first
It
of
was
all.
ever
really
dropped.
funny.
that's just somebody like shit like that. Like you put yourself out there to do something like this, and then somebody will just say some shit like that, and then for the rest of your life, you'll be like,
It's just in the back
it's
of your
just
head.
in there, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Are you the dumbest person I've ever met in my life? Oh,
I always
okay.
wanted to do voiceover work.
It was fun. I mean, it's cool.
I think it'd be a good time.
Yeah, it was not. That was not a brag. That was definitely I was professionally told I have a bad voice.
Well,
which
that's weird because I don't think that correlates with bad. Like I know Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins. That just popped into my head. I used to read a lot of interviews, and he said he has no bass in his voice, and that's like can be helpful, you know, for like
Fair
to
enough.
kind of cut through the EQ, you know, like it's not
Layers.
muddy. You have a crisp,
I guess
present,
I have a crisp,
articulate.
Crisp voice.
but even
crisp.
I guess in an effeminate way, I would say Amanda has more bass in her voice.
I do have a lot of bass.
but like, I guess it is higher pitched than mine. But you have more bass than
You
I do.
complete me. Where I am strong, Ben is weak, and where Ben is weak, I am strong. We do make quite the couple.
Like
Yeah.
muscles.
Yeah.
You guys are like a duo. What's your guys?
A little bit
How
duo.
did you
we're,
guys
we're
came
the
to?
we're the moms of Greenville comedy.
Pretty much that sums it up. Yeah.
My favorite thing to say about us is like we're the kind of the two main bookers in Greenville proper. There's other bookers like kind of on the outskirts, and they do wonderful work, but we do the local shows, Greenville proper. That's fair to say.
Sure.
And then I always say, oh yeah, Ben and Amanda. One of us likes men, one of us likes women, and the answer will surprise you. Everyone thinks
yes.
we're both gay.
Isn't it wild?
It's constantly every week for me.
Yeah.
It's probably the lack of bass in my voice.
Yeah, it's probably the lack of.
And the extremely amount
Yeah.
of bass I have in my voice.
No, it's my shoulders. And apparently my sister says my choice of footwear.
That's
Good
funny,
shoes.
though.
Oh
I mean,
my God,
I
I'm
can
literally
see it.
wearing gay shoes right now. These are actual pride shoes. That's really funny.
And it's the South, you know. I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, how do you guys feel about like Asheville's, I guess, its own like
You Yankees?
Yeah, but I mean, like Greenville's still, you know, that it feels pretty city. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it feels
small
pretty
city.
liberal. I mean, I don't know.
Absolutely.
It's. I would say it's very purple.
Purple, yeah.
Of a city, because there's mixture. Because the outskirts, like most cities, is red.
very.
But I would say the city's very purple in a good way, and then Charleston's really our only like blue city in South Carolina, like true blue. But yeah, I mean,
Is that a recent thing, Charleston?
Charleston being blue?
Yeah.
No, it's
crazy.
been like
I don't
a
know.
while.
My
It
dad
blows my
says
mind.
that Greenville is the gayest city he's ever been to, and I'm like, you should travel more. I don't. What? I don't think so at
Yeah.
all.
He just like live in the rural area, like 30 minutes outside of Greenville, and he drives there, and he goes.
Well, my dad
"Gayest
travels.
place I've ever seen.
He
It's the only
travels.
city you've been to.
Yeah, we're from Charlotte. Like I'm like,
okay.
wait, what? When,
And I was
like,
I was actually the only person he met, so that's why he said that.
yeah, that tracks.
I can see Charlotte being less gay than Greenville.
Yeah,
Not that- I don't know why we're getting into this whole-
we can stop. We can edit this. I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, especially me.
Based on gayness, Asheville, Greenville, Charlotte. Let's rank.
Oh my word. Well, it was nice prior to this podcast not being canceled. It's
Sorry
fun
for
while
this.
it
No,
lasts.
this is fine. It's like we were talking about what's clean, and I have a joke where I'm like, I went to Nashville to do comedy. I found out in Nashville I'm a gay comedian, and these are liberal glasses, and they usually laugh there. And then I go, but Nashville, I'm not gay enough. And like that's a thing that I'm running through my mind. Right, is that clean or not? You know, like I don't say like,
yes, but not to who generally come out to a clean audience. There's a lot of like Christian Southern goody two shoe people who are like no cussing, no nothing with like politics or like homosexuality.
Right. So that could
And
be.
so it's like even if it's political and clean or gay and clean, that audience doesn't think it's clean. Even though it is.
There's levels of clean, but
There's levels
in
of
my
clean.
mind, I'm like, well, I'm just saying that they think I'm gay, so it's like. It feels like, but yeah, I'm like, it's things like that. I'm like, when you were like, are you clean? I'm like, well, that, you know, that's a whole space where I'm, you know, like I was called gay like my whole childhood because I grew up in Tennessee, went to public school, and I was a really artsy kid. So for me, it's like that's a whole fun thing to explore. But then it doesn't feel unclean to me. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that could make people uncomfortable. Yeah. But that to me, that would be because they're maybe repressed or there's someone in their family they won't acknowledge. It's like it's their shit. But then when I'm on stage, I'm not really trying to like upset people, I guess. I think that there are comedians that should be upsetting people, but I don't think I'm one of those comedians. You know what I mean?
What do you mean should be upsetting?
Like
their content.
We shouldn't all just be like there should be some part of comedy that is challenging and somebody's
that, like,
upset.
Walks the line.
Like I want to be on that show.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I don't think that that's my lane. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I just made that argument with somebody because somebody was critiquing my joke. I can say his name. I don't care. He'll probably listen. Good friend of mine, but it was the like, okay, so should every joke and comedian be perfectly squeaky clean and unoffensive and never push a line at all? And we should all tell silly poop jokes and that's it. Again, he may have been calling me out in a good way and be like, hey, this joke maybe isn't the best, or reword that joke, which is completely fine and valid. But he got like to other jokes of mine. And I was like, oh, no, I am setting my foot here or whatever, drawing a line of like, no, that's a good joke. And are you just saying that everyone has to be completely unoffensive all the time? Because I think that's boring. Yeah. Nah, I agree. Like, people cross the line. It's like, oh, yeah, that wasn't cool at all. But I just don't want all clean comedian. And my favorite comedian of all time is clean.
Nate?
I do like Nate. Brian Regan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Brian Regan is a brilliant writer.
Yeah.
And then I think tied for first would be Anthony Jeselnik.
Yeah.
Just because I think he's
Not
dark
but
but good.
Yeah.
He's the total opposite.
I like
but
that
I would
too.
say
Yeah,
dark,
that's cool.
dark but good.
Yeah.
Short and dark,
Yeah.
long and clean.
Short and dark. Yeah. Brian Regan's bits are incredible. I don't think you necessarily notice he's clean. Same with Nate. You don't necessarily notice he's clean.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're not like, oh, this is a kid's movie. You're just like, oh, was that clean?
Yeah.
I do think it's kind of more of like a challenge to do that. But yeah, I mean, it's just like not wanting anyone to be offensive. It's like, I mean, that's just, I can't even
What's the point?
understand. Like, it's like you want everyone in the world to agree with you. That seems.
I want all food to be sweet and never have any spices or spicy food.
My taste should be everyone's taste. It's like, what? That's, I mean, if you're at a comedy show, I mean, I guess, and that's the thing about doing a clean show. If it's advertised that way, I mean, I think it's a cool challenge to try to do that. I don't understand why. It's like, if you want to be in a metal band, dabble in jazz. It's going to make your metal better.
Jazz.
Like, why would you box yourself in? I think it's cool to, and I mean, anybody that'll book me for anything, I'll say yes. I don't think I'm like too good to do it.
Absolutely.
So that's a lot of the clean has just come out of that. People are like, you're clean, and I'm like, am I? And they're like, and then I look at all the other Asheville comics. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm clean. I'll do it.
But it's also good to, like, just like you said, the metal and jazz. It's good to push yourself and to learn something new and to constantly be evolving. Like, I think that's just a part of growth. I don't think I'm clean, but I think I am like leading cleaner. I think I do have a bit of darkness in me.
I pushed her to do that darkness.
Very dark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he made his
Made
fault.
you.
The darkness can be clean though.
Yeah, it can
like
be
right,
clean.
like Nate. I mean, it's almost like you're
Jim Gaffigan has some dark jokes.
Yeah, you're not showing.
he's clean.
It's like Hitchcock isn't. It's like what you don't see, or the suspense of it. It can almost be like darker in a way, or it's like more challenging than just like showing somebody's intestines getting stabbed out of them, or just saying fuck. a whole
Bill
bunch.
Cosby. I'd say he has a dark side.
No, he's family dad.
Racist.
He's family dad.
I'm just kidding. He's the worst person ever. Worst person ever.
Well,
For sure.
you haven't met Amanda.
Hello.
Until today.
Until today. No.
Amanda Neal, Bill Cosby.
Yep. Pretty close. Pretty close.
Do you play instruments? Do you do music?
I feel like when I tell people this, it like makes a lot of sense. No, but I was in marching band, but I was in color guard. Like it all just clicks now. Like everyone's like,
That's
oh.
funny. Her partner's very talented musician.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he is. And what's really funny is he was a big metal, like shredder, like long hair, all of it. And
from TMT.
yeah, he's shredder.
Shredder.
That's really funny. Anywho, so
Do you have a joke about that?
Kind of, but it's a personal story more than a joke. I'm gonna stop talking now. Okay.
It's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reference.
Oh yeah.
So he is a shredder.
Yeah.
And then when
Shredder, I barely know her. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. I'll just walk home. And then when he got out of this metal band and was like, oh, I should probably grow up, he explored jazz.
Yeah.
And
It's the other hard one.
and he like dived deep into jazz, and now and then he got into funk. So like now he's in a really cool funk band.
Yeah.
And
Big fan.
yeah, they're great. And then recently he's been getting into bluegrass, which he says is even the hardest
Yeah.
he's played. We have a song that we wrote about being a turtle. It's just a funny little song that we sing, and we'll just like slowly come up with verses. And we were all hanging and jamming a few weeks ago, and so the kids and my partner and I, we were all singing our verses about our turtle song. And my friend Matt plays the mandolin because this is a bluegrass song about a turtle. And his verse was, "Nah, I'm not a teenage, and I'm not a mutant, and I'm not a ninja, but I'm a turtle." And that was see, it's not funny.
No, I was just wondering if the
funny.
shredder thing was gonna come back.
It's
in
not.
Or not.
No,
It
it's
was
just
just like
TMNT.
randomly two Ninja Turtles things back to
Yeah.
back in the pod,
Yeah.
not connected.
Yeah.
Okay, I was waiting for the shredder.
Yeah.
The callback.
Yeah, no.
Huh.
It's just a turtle. Do you
Yeah.
guys ever, I know you guys got the dirty broad up here, but do you ever go tubing?
I don't think I have been in like 10 years. I need to go with the kids sometime.
Yeah.
Looks fun.
It is a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, not here,
Yeah.
but go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
he's
the
got
Green
young
River,
kids.
I think
Oh.
is clean.
Oh, okay. So
Oh,
yes,
Yeah, not
poison.
not the French broad.
Yeah. Yes.
French broad. I'm a big fan of French broads.
It's called the dirty
Hey.
broad for a reason. She
I'm
dirty
French.
girl.
I'm French Cajun.
Real
Are you
dirty
really?
girl.
Yeah, which is Cajun is French for white trash. It's
Yes.
pretty
But it's
much-
French white trash, so that's
French
kind of like
Oh,
it's almost like
spicy.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Slightly
street
better.
food, and it's I don't know, it's like
They got
highbrow and
double
lowbrow.
wide
That's like
instead of a single.
you know.
It's a, damn it! I was gonna say that. That's good.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
maybe if you go tubing on the river, it will inspire you to write a song about a turtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're very musical. We do a lot of. Me and
That's
my
amazing.
wife met through music, so we do a lot of music around the house and all that.
That's so cute.
This for me is an extension of music. Like this is
Absolutely.
like we're jamming
Yes.
with words
We're
right
jamming.
now. This
Heck
is
yeah.
kind of like the concept for this pod is kind of, I don't know. Are you a musician as well?
I have no musical talents
Okay.
whatsoever. I can kind of
Can't
play the
even
piano by
dance.
ear, but I'm talking like simple stuff. But
Yeah.
I know 30 little simple songs, but I learned them by ear. But I don't know what the notes are. I don't know what's a C, dull, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I like music-ish. I prefer podcast and comedy.
Yeah.
Music doesn't do a lot to
Yeah.
me. I cannot really sing a full song start to finish with all the lyrics. I don't know music very well.
Ben was homeschooled. I
was
feel like we should
homeschooled.
tell you this.
That's interesting because there's a disproportionate number of like comedians that are it's like autism and homeschool. It's like these I mean, right? Yeah.
I have a
Which
bit.
totally makes sense. It's like you have a different perspective. So you're not like
So
the
I-
same as everyone. So it's like it's compelling to hear.
I've been asked if I was autistic, and
man.
I've taken tests, and no, sorry, Astral, I'm neurotypical. But I've literally been asked that, and my answer that I came up with one day was, oh, it's nurture over nature. I was nurtured for most of my development years as homeschooled, and my closest friends with my siblings, which I love my siblings. But then I still I went to high school, but I still even now have like some certain social cues I don't pick up on, but I'm not naturally, I'm going to say autistic or any sort of like variation of anything. It's nurture over nature.
Yeah, it can almost like
And
yeah.
it's amazing that there's still things I don't necessarily pick up on, like when to stop talking.
Jesus Christ.
You're doing fine. Dude. I mean, that's actually another thing of this podcast is me trying to be a better listener because I listen back and I'm like, yeah,
Fair enough.
my wife is right. I do sort of talk. It's more than I think it is when I listen back.
But I guess maybe I like music. I guess maybe I don't love music, but I like music. But I was only ever allowed until my 9th grade year. I was only ever allowed to listen to Christian music without rhythm or like drums or anything.
Wow. So that was the reason for homeschooling. It was like kind of religious stuff.
So extremely religious, very sheltered. My parents are super cool now, but they were very strict growing up. I'm the oldest of four, so I also had to help homeschool my younger siblings. But the point is, I didn't discover secular music until literally high school, which is crazy.
You call it secular music.
Secular music. That's what we call it. Yeah, it's
The
the
fact
term.
that you call it that
It's,
is like
so I got PTSD from being religious.
secular music.
Secular
You
music.
mean music, dude?
Just real music. Real music. I got really into like Soulja Boy almost immediately because that was of the time.
You're like, whoa, this is
I'm
pretty
like,
edgy.
I'm hardcore. I like crank that Soulja Boy.
crank this Soldier Boy.
I think it's kind of sweet. Like my almost 13-year-old is just, she doesn't, I'm like, you can curse, just know not to say it to your grandma. You know, he's like,
Aw.
be aware. And she's like, I don't want to. She's like,
Yeah.
she's kind of like choosing to be more like virtuous in those ways, which is interesting because we don't go to
Yeah.
church or do any of that. And then the younger one's like the opposite. She's
Yeah.
kind of like into that stuff.
That's
but,
second child.
Do they go to
Yeah.
public school? Or?
They do. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, they just switched to a charter school, which is like still free, but it's fancy.
No, that's where I went to high school. I
So,
went to charter
yeah.
school.
But I think it's also like allowing her that freedom by
Yeah.
saying like,
That's
hey,
fantastic.
you can do this.
Yeah.
Because that's like how I was growing up. My parents were like, hey, this is what drinking is like. This is what drugs are like. And so like it never made me want to like dabble in this. I actually have a whole set about how awesome my dad thinks cocaine is.
Yeah.
Don't do cocaine because it's awesome. And I've never done cocaine
Yeah.
because of it. But they weren't that open and like forthcoming about sex. So like
Yeah.
all four of us were like, what's sex like?
So that
You know?
became their like repressed thing you had to explore.
Yeah, but like even then, much later in life than like peers.
Yeah.
And so like I think by like giving her that freedom and allowing her to be like, hey, you can. But second children, man, they're all they're all.
Yeah, that was the thing is we thought we'd figured it out. It's reverse psychology. Just and the second one, we're like, you can do drugs and curse, and she's like, I'm gonna do it all today. And you're like, wait,
Let's
okay,
go.
shit, fuck. They're different.
I mean,
they're not all the
don't.
same.
No, yeah.
My
So
repressed
funny.
thing was listening to Soulja Boy. it was rebellious. Mom, Dad, I listened to Rock with a Rhythm.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
I liked Queen. The lead
See,
singer's gay.
We grew up listening
That's
to
risky.
like Will Smith and like Christian music and a lot of Motown. But my
Motown's
favorite
great.
thing
Yeah.
is the Jock Jams. Do you remember Jock Jams?
Like Chumbawamba.
Yeah.
That's the
And
first
just
one
like
that comes
Whoop,
to
there it
mind.
is.
Yeah.
To this day, one of my top 5 favorite songs is Whoop, there it is. But that's what we would clean the house to.
Yeah, just like fun
yeah.
90s
The best.
R&B. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, like, so we didn't listen like Queen and like Rolling Stones, like that was not. And so like people will be like, the Beatles. And I'm like, my mom told me they worship the devil, you know? So it's just like, you know, you're not allowed to. Same.
It was the Stones that worshiped the devil.
Say that again.
But the Beatles got,
Stones.
I don't know. Yeah, they worship the devil. I can go off on tangents on the Beatles and the Stones. I'm reining myself in.
You should
It's
have
been said.
Niles
White dudes
your
on podcasts being like the Beatles. You know, it's like it's been. I just like my head's like don't even. I don't need to.
You know.
No one wants to hear
No.
me talk about the Beatles.
No. And what's really funny is like my whole life, I love Missy Elliott. Always have, always
Yeah.
will. And the first time I saw her in concert, I got heat exhaustion and I passed out. It was terrifying. And so I just went and I saw her. And in the meantime, I've been listening to a lot of like instrumentals. So like I love Lettuce. I love Tycho. Tycho's a little bit
What
weirder.
about spinach?
If you ask Alexis, she calls them cabbage. So I listen to like way more instrumental now. And Missy Elliott just launched like a 20-year anniversary tour.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we got to go. And so we went and I freaked out. I was like, this is the Illuminati. We were in an arena. And I was like, they're collecting our souls. This is the Illuminati. Timbaland's the puppet master. And I was like freaking out.
What were you on?
Psychedelic drugs.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm like we.
That's why I'm so happy. You know,
Yeah.
My brain is constantly
Oh, yeah.
rewiring.
I support it.
Yeah, man,
Hell yeah.
I did. And after that, I was like, this is why I stopped listening to secular music. She was
Secular,
right the
yes.
whole time.
Yes. Brought
Yeah.
it back.
Yeah.
Just need to
There it
get
is,
the shredder back.
shredder.
Just bring back Shredder. Yeah,
We'll
dang
get it
yeah.
in.
Question for you. 'Cause
Yeah.
You said this earlier. You said jazz is the other hard one. Is
Yeah.
I legitimately don't know anything about
Yeah,
music.
like jazz and metal are
Is
the
that
hard
hard?
ones.
Those are the hard ones?
Yeah, I mean, I guess bluegrass is
Fascinating.
fast, like you said. But yeah, jazz and metal's like,
Because I love jazz. I
Fast
love
and
live
hard.
jazz especially.
because jazz is like all the notes. It's not just like the notes in the key, and metal's just like, I think it's pretty clear that's fucking insane to execute. So
It's wild.
I think that clean comedy is a bit like that.
Like you have to
Jazz or metal.
be up on your skills.
Yeah.
Elaborate.
Yeah.
Because I notice, and I've said this a lot on the podcast, but when I go back through my like working stuff out, I curse a lot because I'm just trying to. I don't believe in the bit yet. I'm trying to make something happen, so I'm like dropping extraneous f-bombs, but I don't like that. You know, it's like once the joke gets, if I consider it to be good, I'll usually remove it, unless it's like occasionally one curse word.
And it just
But when it's just like fucking this, fucking that, it's like, you know, the more you use them, the less impact they have. So
for
yeah.
sure, I can feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
know,
It's
should-
like psychedelic drugs.
no.
Yeah. Psychedelic drugs. Yeah.
What?
I'm all into the psychedelic
Yeah, I'm a huge
renaissance.
fan.
I think it's becoming part of the
Yeah.
culture. It's amazing. I think
You hear that,
what
Ryan's
we need.
kids?
I bet.
I mean, there's things I probably would not talk about everything I've done on
Yeah.
this podcast, but I will say I support.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Be safe. Do drugs safely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I think.
I did a little microdose that turned macrodose. Whoopsies.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh no, I'm in public.
Yeah.
That was on Sunday, and it was a little weird. But the last time I was like camping, having the best time, and then I cried in the woods for 2.5 hours, and it was like what I needed, and it was
Good.
great, and
Yeah.
I felt super awesome about it. But you just have to accept it.
Yeah.
Whatever comes, whatever shows up.
Yeah, I read a
Yeah.
book on like the Michael Pollan book on that, and he was saying like when they do like guided trips and stuff, they always like the Beatles song, like turn off your mind, relax, and float downstream. That's what the main advice is. Like no matter what happens, don't try to go against it. You know, if you look in the mirror and you see your flesh rotting off into a skull, you have to be like,
That's
life is short
shedding.
and fleeting,
Yeah.
and this if you try to resist it, that's bad. But if you can just go with, like, you're not gonna die.
Yeah.
But you really have to. That's like the one rule is you gotta go. Like you have to follow it. So you are committing to hours.
And that's not the
Not for
botany
everyone.
of desire. That's
It's like
which
It's what's it called? How to Change Your Mind. It's the one that just came out.
Because
I
he
think
has
he's
the
written
Netflix special.
Yeah,
Netflix
right.
show.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's like
You kind of give Michael Pollan vibes a little bit. You have a very calming voice.
bald.
No, yeah. I mean, there's a resemblance
Yeah.
there for sure.
Oh,
Do you
that's
know who Michael Pollan is?
Michael Baldwin.
Pollen.
I'm
He-
allergic.
He just discovered drugs.
He's
really-
he's like he's like been a reputable author for decades,
Yeah.
writing on like eat
Like-
vegetables and things, you know,
yeah.
how to be healthy in foods
and
and
gut
plants.
health.
And
And
yeah,
how that all
and then he's just
contributes
now
to
starting
the-
to be like, I feel like this is a crucial time for us to embrace psychedelics as a culture. Like it came out in the '60s, and you know, before like Charles Manson and shit, there was this whole decades where it was like this wonder drug where it was legal, and
Yes.
they'd never seen results so good for like alcoholics not
Yeah.
going back to it. But then it became mixed up in like the '60s and Manson and all that, and
Free
and
love.
and it had to be driven underground. But he's saying like
and
it's,
also
it's
like
actually
free
a time that
thinkers too.
Yeah.
They didn't really. They wanted to suppress
Yeah.
everybody.
Order
from
in the
being
Vietnam
Like, no,
and-
we
yeah.
don't want to go to Vietnam.
But it's like the idea that the message could be something like, you know, you do it and you go, wow, like those trees and just we're all connected and life is
Yes.
fleeting and fragile. We should take care of the planet. Like that. He's saying that like the fungus under the ground, like that it's like the oldest, it's the neural
Mycelium,
network of
yes.
the earth, and this is getting out
I'm
there.
so
you know?
here
No, I'm all
But that
for it.
it's really giving us a message that
Yeah.
humanity needs right now. Like, you know,
100%.
to like pay attention, take care of each
Yeah.
other, and you know we're all
Sit
connected.
back and watch the world
So,
breathe. Yeah,
It's not
We're all
addictive,
one.
you know. I mean, certainly if you're like schizophrenic or you're like, you know, you shouldn't be doing it if you have like mental health issues, and you should.
Uh-oh.
But
do
even
it
just like
safely.
even just like a little microdose. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Or you can, you know,
Yeah.
you can do it.
whoopsies.
Whoopsie.
I guess he was saying there's more risks that you could have like a bad experience.
Yeah.
But
if you're not allowing it,
Yeah.
if you don't allow. I came to know Michael Pollan because he's big about like he taught me a lot about gut and like diet.
yeah,
And I still live by one of his rules. That's like if I can't make it at home, I'm not.
Yeah.
We're not doing it. So
Yeah.
like if I want a chocolate chip cookie,
Yeah.
then you have to go and like make a chocolate
Yes.
chip cookie. So either it's going to be healthier because you took the time to make it, or you're not going to have it at all.
Totally.
And it's one of
Food Rules, that awesome book. He's like,
Yeah.
fried chicken and chocolate cake is great.
Great.
Like, just make it. Because it was when we got to the point where you're like, you drive through a window every day and you just get it. You
Yes,
know, it's like
exactly.
then it's just like too much.
Fried
Whereas
chicken
if you
is
had to
like a
make it each time-
6-hour process.
Yeah.
You know.
So you're not going to do it every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
my
great.
God.
Yeah, I love
I
how Paul.
I don't cook. That sounds exhausting.
What? Oh my god,
I hate cooking. I can't cook.
Everybody can cook and everybody
No.
can dance. It's just a matter of like if you want to.
So what are your other, like, what other stuff do you do
Yeah,
besides
what
comedy?
do
are
you
your-
do for fun? Is this it?
Do you have other, like, do you have like a theater? Like, usually people have like a, if it's not music, they did theater, or they have some like other, there's comedy kind of your like first performance art where you're like, I'm going to write stuff and get up and.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I know I don't look it, but I am generally athletic. I follow zero sports. I watch no sports. It does not interest me, but I love playing sports, even still, even actively. Anything, any sport, doesn't matter. I mean, I'm 31, so maybe not tackle football, but
Yeah.
Or apparently electric scooters.
or electric scooters. Got injured pretty badly.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries all over my
Combat
body.
sport, apparently.
Yeah, really different. Yeah, what took me down was an electric scooter, not my sports. So I liked playing sports growing up. I didn't have time for acting or theater, but it never really interested me. And then the very first, because I've always considered myself left-brained, even though that's not really a thing. I've never
That's
been
the
creative.
logical side?
It's the logical
Yeah.
side. So I'm pretty logical. I always got like 100s or A's in all math. I tutored my other sports teammates, whatever, because I'm good at math, but I sucked at reading, sucked at English, other stuff. I liked science generally. But then my very first creative thing I've ever done in my life was comedy.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like,
It's a great one.
genuinely,
Just go for the hardest one
Yeah.
ever. Just
Yeah,
the
just
most
go for the hardest
naked,
one.
like vulnerable,
That's
hardest.
crazy.
Just do that one. Instead of
first-
working your way up with a guitar and the other
Yeah. Went to
words that somebody else wrote in the play.
Music
I-
is tough.
I don't think I could do music. Maybe, but I don't think so.
Yeah, but you can do it music. You can, like, a lot of gigs you just play and people are kind of like, it's like in the background. It's not like, did we bomb? Did we kill? It's not so, it's just
Must be
not like
nice.
comedy is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
I'm
so,
envious of that.
so intense. What made you like want to do? When did you do your first set? What was that like?
I mean, what made me want to do it was growing up, being able to listen to clean comedy in like middle school, and then I was never funny. My humor or wit is very I don't want to say artificial, but learned, somewhat calculated. But like I was never funny growing up or even in high school until I got to an adult, and. But the only thing I knew how to do was to quote bits from Brian Regan or a lot of other
Oh,
comedians
that's
as
great.
well.
It's like covering somebody Bob Dylan song or something.
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily do it. I knew better in the moment. I wasn't trying to play it off as my own. I would be like, "This is a Brian Regan joke," and then I would do it because I even at like a young age I knew just stealing jokes was wrong. Don't do that. But as an adult, I was just obsessed with comedy, and I discovered that we had a local open mic scene, regardless of like the big tours coming through to like our Comedy Zone or big theaters. So I went to multiple open mics, and I was like, I think I could do this. So I wrote a bunch of hacky punchlines. I tried as best I could to make everything original, no matter how cheesy or corny or whatever it was. First open mic, I had already like gotten to know a bunch of people in the scene, and I had made friends, and so they were very supportive, and like I did very, very well for my first 5 minutes. And then second time, I just went to completely other open mic, and I didn't really know anyone, and just ate shit for 5 minutes. And I was like, oh yeah, because you guys weren't being supportive
Yeah.
of like, it's my first time. And I was like, oh, okay, are these real cheesy? And then I went back and watched the tape, and yeah, it was some of the most cringy stuff.
That's a classic scenario. The person we've all seen the person that brings all their friends to the open mic for their
Yeah.
first time.
And they're like,
And you
"This is
put
the
them up last so their
best."
friends stay. Don't let them go soon. And then they were like, I am good at this my first time. And then they come
oh
back
my God.
again without all their friends, and it's like, But that's great though. The first time that's nice for the first
It's a
time to
good
be
memory.
good.
It was a good
You know?
memory.
And I mean, support from friends is real. I mean, that's a
Huge.
beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what
I wouldn't know. My friends don't see me do comedy, but
I didn't. I told 3 people the first set I ever did. and 2 of them showed up.
That's pretty good
Yeah.
percentage.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It was a good time.
How often do you guys have? When's your next set? When's your next show? When's your next thing? And they just never.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm batting at a 3%.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer to perform for strangers anyway. It's kind of like
Yeah.
if my family's going to be there, it's like it'd be nice if I just knew it was going to be a good show. Because you know how it is. It's like it's the roll of the dice, especially at the level that we're at.
Yeah.
So it's like I love doing all the shows I do, but it's tough when like your mom is there and there's 4 people and it's a big empty room and you're like, okay, she's going to watch me bomb, you know?
Yeah.
I
Or
prefer
heckle
she
you.
just leave. So I don't mind bombing, but I don't want to bomb in front of my mom, you know? I need to get over that, but it's...
Well,
Yeah.
most of mine comes from the trauma in which my mother induced on me. So
Yeah,
it's probably best that she doesn't.
And at your first show too. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
she's
she
just right there.
heckled me
Have you
the
tried
whole
making doing like the bit out of that, being your mom heckling you at your show? Sounds like
No,
it could
I
be.
haven't, but
Sounds like there's
It's
something
kinda
there.
I
funny.
should.
You know?
Absolutely.
My father's only ever seen me bomb. He's been to 4 shows. My father is in the military, and one time I did crowd work with a veteran who's in a wheelchair, and it went so bad. It was some of my first time ever doing crowd work, and now I'd say I'm relatively decent at crowd work. But I bombed so hard, and like my dad just watched me kind of make fun of a veteran on accident in a wheelchair, and
Yeah, that's rough.
I was like, oh my, I was dying after the show.
I do think you do very well with crowd work because you do have that quick wit. But I think and myself too, I don't crowd work very well. But just in more conversation, I'm more quick wit. But I think that comes from like siblings. Like for me, I know that came from having a big family because it was like you gotta be fast and have tough skin. And my family is mean as shit.
Yeah.
Did you experience like that quick rapport with your family, or was it all pretty?
No. So, first off, real quick, shout out best friend Bill Reiner. He also says I'm better at crowd work because my personality comes up more, whereas my bits are a little bit more like fake, rehearsed, and it's not quite me because he thinks I'm hilarious like off stage, because I would say I'm funny off stage, but like it's more me coming out during crowd work. But what we just established a few days ago was that you remind me of the 3rd oldest sister I'm the oldest of 4, so the 3rd oldest. I was like, Amanda, you remind me a lot about her. This, and this. And then all of a sudden it was
Of what?
3rd oldest, like in the siblings.
Okay.
He's the first of
I'm the
4.
oldest.
Okay.
And then my
I'm
sister's
the third
the 3rd.
of 4,
Yeah.
which is really funny because I went home and I thought about it. I was like, damn. Well, no, it was Sunday. You kept looking in your phone, fixing your hair.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I
damn,
do that
he
a
reminds
lot.
me so much of my brother, which is my oldest brother, Sean. And I was like, oh, no. And Sean and I used to be really close.
I'm losing my hair, so I'm kind of like, does it look all right?
Looks great, man. Enjoy
It
it.
looks
Only
okay.
you notice it.
I guess.
The
But
only reason it looks like I have hair is because I have curls.
I think it's good to, it's like you got to develop a personality, you know?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
I had this like just thick, like curly red, just a beautiful boy, just coasting on that. So it's like I got to figure out how to be funny now. You know,
got
it's good.
humbled. Yes.
Oh my God,
Man,
we're
you had
the-
curly red hair.
That's
Yeah.
really funny.
Oh,
Yeah, you should have
congratulations.
seen it. It was
Gosh.
beautiful.
We're
Yeah.
now
Can
we
you post a photo here?
That's a good question.
can you post a
I'll
photo
look.
of the 3 Stooges? Because we're kind of the 3 Stooges right now. Mo, Larry,
You
and
guys-
Curly right here.
It just got twice as hard to put this on the internet.
Just kidding. Don't you don't have to do any of that.
TMMT.
To-
Twitter.
I might do
I should
it.
answer your question though.
That's multimedia.
I've never felt like I had to be quick around my family or funny until 5, 6, 7 years ago, because we weren't. We were very strict Christian, military. Everything's very serious all the time. Family growing up. Now to where the whole family jokes around quite a lot. And by far the funniest person in my family, and I will never be as funny as her. I will never have as good timing as her. But it is the 3rd oldest. My sister Hannah is so fucking funny, and sometimes it's unintentional, and even when it's intentional, it's still very natural. She's not overly trying.
Yeah.
It's just natural
Yeah.
timing and funny. And my other 2 siblings are kind of funny in their own right, but like not as much. And mine is witty. I am the wittiest in the family, to where I do interject in conversation, but like she's made me cry laughing at
Yeah.
the dinner table, and even I don't know. Even my parents have been like, "Man, that really got you," and I'm like, "That timing was incredible."
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, there's different flavors of like humor and laughs. You know,
Hers is natural. I
Yeah.
feel calculated. I feel more artificial.
Yeah, like I've never felt like I'm very fast or quick-witted, and I do crowd work, but I kind of go the opposite way, where I think it's like leaning into slowness can almost be its own kind of funny thing.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Because everybody is trying to be so fast, and I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I just hang out with enough comedians to know I'm not. That's not
Yeah.
me. So I'm just going to try to go the other direction
That's
hard.
great, though.
Be slow.
Play to your strengths.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's good self-awareness.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing that when people can just be fast, but
Yeah.
that's not.
Absolutely.
It's not me.
Ben's really good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
I'm
is.
fast. I don't know about funny. But I'm
Well, I
quick.
mean, you won the competition here with the. So I mean, you know,
Did
you're doing
you
you're doing
really?
something right.
I
I mean-
won one of the rounds. I made it to the finale.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You won like a night of comedy with everybody there, and
That's
placed at
amazing.
other times. So you know,
Oh,
Yeah.
people think you're funny. That's pretty. That's about.
Because
Thank
in
you.
Greenville, we're always bridesmaids. Ben and I
never the
think
bride.
we've come in second every comedy competition.
really?
Oh, that's
we've
true.
Yeah.
I've
Greenville.
done 7 comedy competitions, and 6 of them I got second place. And I have a joke about that.
Yeah.
It was I get second place every comedy competition. So my
Yeah.
dad is right. I am almost good enough.
No, it's better. It builds. It's
It
better.
does,
Like
yeah.
bomb in front of your dad, go bald,
Yeah.
lose every competition. Like that's funnier.
Have your
that's
mom heckle
That's
you.
way funnier.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's so much
absolutely.
funnier.
because you need,
Yeah.
like you
It's-
just come out and just win everything, and it's just going great. It's like
Yeah.
this. I don't know.
That trajectory.
yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
It's
just
short.
Like, and
yeah,
then-
it's like you're not gonna.
yeah.
at
This
least-
builds character.
That's what I tell myself. That's how
Yeah,
I
thank you so much.
keep doing it. Yeah, I don't know.
That's fun. And how long have you been doing comedy?
This month is my 9-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
My God.
You're going to get famous next year. That's
I
so
know.
exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually do have a thing. I don't want to like say it yet, but I'm scheduled to do a thing in a couple months to
Special.
film a thing that's like, but I don't want to like say it's definitely. I
Yeah.
still won't believe it till I do it. But
Yeah.
that's like try to that'll be nice to
We'll
try to
be
like
there
put
if
something
we
out
can.
that's
Yeah.
like this is my first 9 years of comedy and just burn that material.
Congratulations.
I mean, yeah,
That's
thanks.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
I just love the journey of it. I love like
Yeah.
meeting the people, traveling. I mean, you take comedy out of my life, and it's like I'm a dad who works in front of a computer.
Kind of
You know?
music dad.
Do you wear SPF plus though?
When you're on your phone.
Yeah. Do you have blue light blockers?
I mean, now I'll be thinking about
Yeah.
that as I'm just rotting in front of
Exactly.
the people.
You should.
Do you have a title yet? You can not release this until after.
No, I don't. That's a good question. Yeah, I mean,
Ooh,
I
let's
haven't.
workshop some
I just
titles.
found out in the last week that I might be, and I even kind of feel like I probably shouldn't even be.
That's
But I am.
okay.
I am
You
just
got this
excited about it, the
Yeah.
prospect, because I've
Congrats,
been
man.
wanting to like film or record an album or
Heck
do
yeah.
something, because it's like coming up on 10 years. It's like, okay, I'm not expecting like everyone to watch it necessarily, but it's good to put things out. Like I've been in a
Yeah.
bunch of bands, and you got to put out an album. And the
Absolutely.
first album you put out is not going to be perfect, but you got to do the first one, and then you keep doing things. So it's kind of like you got to bomb in front of your parents. You gotta just keep doing things.
Yeah.
And I'm in it for the long haul. Like I hope
Evolving,
that
pushing yourself.
people let me
absolutely.
still tell jokes when I'm
Yeah.
old, like real old.
I mean,
speak
most
it
people
into
have quit by
existence.
now.
You got to do that.
Yeah.
That's a real thing, and just
Yeah.
manifesting and just owning it. Like that's something that is I fully
Yeah.
wholeheartedly believe in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a fun fact about Amanda.
Oh no.
Let's hear it. Let's
Ben
do it.
knows
Let's do it right now.
Too much.
I do know too
Why don't you
much.
tell us right
He
now?
knows too much.
Amanda left the stand-up world because she thought improv may be better.
I
and boy,
I
did she
did
find out.
not leave the
She left
stand-up
stand-up.
I'm
world.
gonna have to ask you
So
to go
hard.
ahead and.
And boy,
No, I did not leave stand-up. I took improv classes because
Yeah.
I was like, meh, let's see what this is about.
I've thought about that, and I've heard people say
It's fine.
It helps you be quick, but you did realize that stand-up is
it's so much better.
So much better.
so much better.
So much better.
Like it's the real one of the two.
and like surprisingly, comics are nicer.
Yeah.
What? And they're assholes. So
yeah,
imagine.
it's like improv is more fake nice,
Dude,
right? Whereas stand-up's more gonna like roast you to your face.
Oh yeah.
Whereas improv's like, yay, and then
yes,
No.
and
Yeah.
I'm talking
No.
behind you back.
I did improv 101 and I hated it. 2
Yeah.
classes in and I was like,
yeah,
you guys know you could have taken Toastmasters because it was just
Yeah.
a class full of engineers and they're
Yeah.
like, we don't know how to talk to girls. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Toastmasters.
Yeah.
And they were literally like, what's that? And I was like, it's they teach you how to speak
Oh, yeah.
publicly.
My origins are in Toastmasters. I feel like it'd be weird not to say it.
Yeah.
I started stand-up 9 years ago this month. About 10 plus years ago, I joined Toastmasters
Heck
because I
yeah.
was so terrified to speak publicly
Absolutely.
that I had to do it in a supportive elderly room for the whole year.
amazing.
And I did like humorous speaking manuals, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm fucking funny.
Yeah.
And then I went to
Oh, that's
stand up to
great.
like a bar where no one knows you. I was like, okay, I'm not funny at all. But
That's
yeah,
amazing. Yeah,
it was good.
It is good.
It was-
but I have never been roasted so hard in my life doing Toastmasters.
Yeah.
Because they have you speak.
Oh yeah.
And then they
Critiques.
write
Yeah.
down, you said like this
Yeah.
many times, you said
Yeah.
this many times. And I did it during COVID. So
Yeah.
it was just like 17 people on a Zoom call. And they're like, and you said this and this and this. And I was like, what? But it helped me be more present and choose my words wisely.
Yeah.
And not with a bunch of filler words.
Yeah, and I've drifted back into all that, like the likes and stuff. I was better when I was doing the Toastmasters. I miss that they, every time you talk, people are, here's some things that you did well.
Absolutely.
And here's some things you didn't. And that's just one person's opinion, but in stand-up, it can be a little like, should I tell this person?
Well, that's kind of what they're doing
Yeah.
downstairs right now,
I
right?
wonder-
Or they were.
Am I going to
Is
be like
there a
some
workshop
mansplaining?
happening?
Yeah,
There's like
so
a
that's
workshop,
beautiful.
too.
That's a place. Yeah, it's like the
That's pretty
Toastmasters
cool.
meets stand-up. That is cool. Yeah,
That is so cool. And there was like I love
Yeah.
I loved hearing everybody else like they help punch up a joke.
Yeah.
And it's just like
Yeah.
genuine.
Yeah.
That's so nice. It's so
Yeah, see what-
nice.
Instead of a pop filter, you need a like filter
Yeah.
on your microphone.
That's what this podcast is too. Is it's like what is comedy? It's this intangible. What is funny? Like how it's like you'll never probably really get an answer to that, but
It's all subjective.
we all talk, and you can maybe get more of a sense of it. Yeah, it's all subjective.
Sometimes
it's
there's no
fleeting.
talking.
Yeah.
Some hilarious
Yeah.
stand-up.
Yeah, that's
I-
true. Just a
I
pause
wish
or a
there
gesture.
Very
was
po-
more of that. Of hey, here's a suggestion or here's this. But
Yeah.
I wonder like does that not happen? Shut up. Shut up. Shut your
counting?
face.
I appreciate it. Like I did a bit a few months ago, and Ryan was like, "You forgot the funny part," and I was like, "Thank you for telling me."
Yeah. Do you feel like you have more support here in the scene where people point out?
Probably not as much, because I would love it.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody's talking about me to me, it's like I'm in no position to complain. I have children, so I know I'm a.
Yeah, you get
Fully
roasted
integrated.
daily.
I know
You
that
haven't
I deserve nothing to ever be about me. So if you're like even giving me if you're taking the time to be like, I saw what you did, and I'm going to let you know a thought I had. I'm like, that's amazing. That's the reason I started this podcast, just to have those moments with people.
Absolutely.
So I don't mind, but I do kind of wonder, because I chose to go to Toastmasters and I loved it, and there's different personality types. So I
Absolutely.
certainly don't want to, especially if I'm like some like mansplaining middle-aged dude that's like, here's what you should do. Like in my mind, I'm wary of just telling people what I think, that could help them,
Absolutely.
because I don't want to,
But I think there does need to be more of that because
yeah.
in whole it's strengthening your scene. You
Yeah,
know?
right.
I think that's a beautiful thing
Yeah.
to be able to be like, not only was I listening and paying attention to your set, which I'm fine.
Yeah.
But also it just helps everybody grow. I think
Yeah.
I have a real qualm with like comedians not being good audience members.
Yeah.
That bothers me.
Yeah. Watch the show.
Yeah, watch the show.
yeah.
You you've got your 5 minutes. And
What
you
about
want
when
people to
it's
listen
like
to you.
the same
He's in
bits
the
as
room.
before? Like, because I'll do Tuesday, Wednesday night, and like I'll watch it at the odd on Tuesday night, and then I'm like, well, I'm not gonna watch it again on Wednesday night. I should though, because you can learn so much
You
from.
can.
I mean, you can learn from watching a bad thing
Yeah,
or a good thing.
over and over. When
Yeah.
I first discovered that we had stand up, I had been writing jokes for 5 years at this point, with unknown that there was even that open mic comedy was even a thing. And for 6 months, I hit every mic. I hit as many shows as I could, and I just sat there. And like by the time that I was ready to go up, I could tell you everyone's set. And that's when Bill was doing the Hot Dog Boys. And I don't know why it makes me laugh, but to this day it still makes me laugh. But
Bill has the most quotable set.
I could
Yeah.
tell everyone's set, and for the longest time it drove me crazy. But then when I started performing, I was like, oh, the flow. How does this go? How does that go? Because I was like, why isn't anybody writing new jokes? So when I started, every mic I went to, I had new jokes. I had new this.
Yeah. And I love that about new comics, that they will tend to be more like, it's just new every time, because you haven't got it's like once you actually get a 5 or 10 that works consistently, then that can almost screw you over, because then you're like going in, I'm going to do new stuff, and it's a hot room, and you're like, well, I want them to like me. So that's been a big thing for me just in the last few years, to being like, no, the mics are for new stuff.
Exactly.
You know?
It takes us.
And I will bomb in front of all the new
Completely
comics. I will
agree.
not, like, your
Yeah.
ego's like, you would do the best you can tonight, and it's like, no, that's not long-term growth.
I'd rather do new stuff or tweak material. I
Yeah.
don't want to do word for word a tried and true joke. I
Yeah.
fucking hate that. I think it's a waste of an open mic.
Yeah.
I want to do new stuff tonight.
Yeah.
I'm a little scared.
Yeah.
It is.
because
Yeah, we drove.
She's dark.
You should do it. Yeah, it's like it's like I went to JJ's and did in Chattanooga, and I did their mic, and I got the featured spot because I emailed them, and they let you do that if you ever
Oh,
passing
heck
through.
yeah.
And I did what I thought was my like tightest material, and as soon as it was over, I was like, I should have just done what I was working on that week, because that
Yeah.
was really the spirit of the mic, and I think there's something fun about figuring it out that you can feel. You're figuring out a new thing in the
Feel.
room versus like you've got it in your mind and you're hitting the beats in a memorized way.
But your gut is your Michael Pollan.
Yeah.
Your gut is your first brain.
Yeah.
So whatever you feel actually resonates here and
Yeah.
then flows to your brain. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah, your gut and your brain are like the same.
What?
The same thing.
Did you not know that?
Pretty sure all your thoughts resonate from your brain.
Well,
You need to do more psychedelics, bro.
Yeah, but get
Not that I ever have, but that might.
no,
you know,
but like if your microbiome,
you don't
is
need to
off,
actually. But
like
you know,
I cannot
that
confirm nor
might,
Or you
deny.
can
make
just
more
sh-
sense if you did.
just
But-
check out
I would
Michael
get-
Pollan.
yeah.
Okay, it's fine.
I would get fired if I admitted anything.
Yeah,
So I
I mean,
cannot
that's-
confirm nor deny any.
Yeah,
sort of,
and I certainly am in the same situation. And,
Yeah.
you know, just talking about things.
Yeah, well, I'm unemployed.
Yeah. My stage
Good.
character.
I know. I'm really scared because
My
I started a
podcast
new
character.
fancy dancy
One-
job on Monday.
one
so.
one less woman in the workforce. That's what I'm
Yay.
saying.
I mean, I work really hard and take a lot of pride in my work. If somebody were to go through, you know, tens of hours of footage to find something, there it is.
Oh,
Let's get Ryan. It's like I probably shouldn't be working there if that's actually going to be the end of me. It's like that they.
so
you know,
this happened to me. I went into a job interview.
What?
My mother, at the time, she was in treatment for breast cancer, and this place reached out to me, and they were like, "Hey, we'd love to interview you." And I was like, "Okay, great." And I had to like leave my mom to go to this job interview. So I'm sitting at this job interview. One of their service providers walks in completely not looking great. Okay, this is a beauty industry. She comes in just looking kind of mangled with no shoes on. They pulled up my Twitter, and I had a Louis C.K. quote on there, and they were like, "On so and so, you quoted this," and I said, "Yeah, I quoted someone because
Yeah.
it's funny. I'm not going to say it now because I would be canceled." But I mean, I've been in the industry for 15 years, so this had to have been like 10, 11 years. No, I was in Charlotte, so probably 13 years ago. I had a Louis C.K. quote. And I was like, well, you could have just said no doubt to this interview. I had to completely readjust my whole life to be here.
yeah.
That's insane.
It was wild.
Yeah, don't do it last
Insane.
minute. It's like,
Don't
all right,
pull it
obviously.
in the interview.
And obviously, that place is not the spot for you. If it wouldn't,
Yeah.
if it hadn't been that, it would have been something else. That's
Yeah.
my belief. Is like that's not your place to be.
Absolutely.
But don't waste.
And
my
then I
fucking
called state
time.
board on them. So
we believe you
I'm just
haven't.
kidding. I didn't. I should have, but I didn't.
We believe you haven't changed in 13 years.
No.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Random.
Yeah, isn't
Job
that a weird
interview.
thing?
It was wild.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're actively trying to find something, I guess it's for me, it's like the potential to grow and get more opportunities and just enjoy my life more. Like this podcast has proved to me it does that. That's why I like to do them. So I know there's massive benefits, and it's possible there could be something that bites me later. But it's like calculated. I'm like, well, I know it's working.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm not going to be afraid to do something that really does resonate with me because there may be someday some malicious person would
Yeah.
pick something out and ruin me. You know.
I saw this podcast recently about two women, and they were talking about how
Boo.
cancel the worth. Ben loves women.
Yeah. He's not gay at all.
Can you tell by his
It's
shoes?
just so straight.
Loves them.
So straight.
Yeah. And
All French and straight.
These two, all French and straight. Oui, am I right, Ben?
Wiener.
It was two women talking about how cancel culture is ruining our culture, and
Yeah.
like how so many people are scared to
Yeah.
say and do and be.
Yeah.
But again, it's that, I think it's that line. Like, yeah, we're all so scared to get canceled. I think I've said it 3 times on this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, people are often worried when they come on here, and I get that. It's like I'm recording a long form thing, but yeah, hey, I've done a bunch of them, and no one's had this. Never happened once, and what usually happens is somebody's like, oh, I'm not sure about that, and they listen back and go, yeah, it's fine, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's, I don't know. It's just, there's so much content. There's so much stuff out there.
Who are you having on here that are afraid to ruin their giant careers?
I just had
That's
this lady
impressive.
on where we kind of like joked a little about Hitler somewhere in the middle, and she was
Ooh,
worried
big
about it.
fan.
I was like, it's fine. And then she listened back and she was like, none of that Hitler stuff was problematic at all. You know, and
Making
I
jokes about
would
Hitler
never
jokes.
like clip. I would never like clip with that.
Yeah.
Like you can like get AI to clip for you, and it'll zoom in on the shocking stuff to try to fuel interactions.
That's
but,
amazing.
But I don't do that.
Hitler, big
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I was doing a podcast with my buddy, and he's a musician, and so we would interview musicians in comics. And we had a comic on who we had Chris Wilson on, and he loves
Very funny comic.
Titanic, like
Yeah.
not the movie, but like the history of
Oh,
Titanic.
the real event.
Yeah, the actual the actual event. And I was like, hey, did you hear that in the movie, like somebody laced the clam chowder with like LSD, and like James Cameron went to the hospital, like their whole
Really?
what's that one guy from Twister?
I've only seen it once, and I was terrified because I was 12.
Somebody laced the.
somebody or like PCP. They laced it with
Oh.
PCP, the clam
Oh.
chowder, and so this whole cast and crew up in Alaska had to go to the emergency room.
What does PCP do?
I don't know.
Make you all-
What does PCP and clam chowder
Let's
do?
find out right
Yeah.
now.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yes.
do we-
Great, I brought it. No, I'm just kidding. And the guy that I was on the podcast with also teaches at like he teaches music, and he was so scared to release that podcast because he's like, I'm gonna get canceled because all we do is talk about PCP and we keep coming back
Yeah.
to it. And I was like, because it's a funny bit.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to release the podcast because he was so scared he was gonna get canceled.
Fascinating.
Yeah, and I get that. And as I'm having more people on and doing this, it's like it's interesting. Like a lot of people that come on and have their own fears of like, could this be a bad thing? And it's, I mean, I just really firmly believe, like, I'm definitely not one of these like Rogan free speech. Like that's not my vibe at all. But I do relate to like there's like what you're part of. It's we should just be allowed to. We're good people talking about things we're
Absolutely.
passionate about.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing wrong here. So like for us to be afraid, it's kind of like contributing to people not being their true selves. Or
Yeah.
it's hard to put words on it, but I do feel very strongly that like what we're doing right now is awesome. It's
Absolutely.
collaborative, it's
Yeah.
creative, it's honest, it's vulnerable.
Yeah.
So like if that's gonna be something that bites me, it's like, well, that's fine. You know, I stand by it. You know, it's like one of the cool things I do in my life. I don't know.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Gosh, I just had an idea and it just fluttered on away. Oh, that fear, like walking into something with like that forethought of being like, oh, this is going to be bad. Then it probably is going to be bad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm a little woo woo weirdo, clearly, as we've talked about.
That's for sure.
And I fully believe in like frequencies, and so like whatever you
Yeah.
project, like if you project that fear, that's what's going to happen. But if you go into this and you're like, hey, this is going to be fun, I'm going to enjoy myself, that is huge. And to say all of that, that's why I think the world feels so unfun right now.
Yeah.
Because we're all like
Yeah.
levitating at this like fear frequency for years.
Yeah.
And now we're caught in this loop.
Especially last week.
I mean, it started in 2020. You know,
Yeah.
it was a big fear-mongering year, and,
Yeah.
and now I feel like we're just caught on this endless loop, and life has not been fun.
Yeah.
Her moon crystals that she's charging tomorrow will make her feel
Tomorrow
better.
at the full moon. Thank you, Benjamin.
No, I mean I'm into it. Like I think divisiveness is horrible. I think like I mean I love to do like a clean rural show for people that went to church. Like I think they're just as valid as the weirdos at the odd, and I don't need people to agree with me. And I think that for me that's like the whole problem is that everybody's so divided.
Absolutely.
And like comedy and
That's how they want
should be
us.
bringing people together. I don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm here for it. I love comedy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like putting things out there, frequencies. Like, I mean, like growing up religious and like to me, like prayer is not really any different from like whether psychedelics, man. Yeah, it's like, you know, if you every day you're like, I give gratitude to the Lord and I pray for people and I want to. It's like that's you're gonna have probably a better day.
Absolutely.
If you put those intentions out there than if you're like, why didn't I get on that show? Oh, my boss didn't give me. It's just like, what is your inner monologue? And whether you do that at church with a bunch of people and traditions, or you just, you know, trip mushrooms. And I mean, it's a good thing to do to have intentions and to be mindful about stuff.
But also, like evaluating what arises. So like something that you said of like, why didn't I get on that show? So that's jealousy. Jealousy pops up. So then you take jealousy and you're like, what is it about this? Why am I jealous? And you're like, oh, because I want to be on that show. So that should inspire you to work harder and be like, oh, I'm going to get to that level.
I love that. Yeah.
Rather than feeling like, oh, man, that person.
And for me, it's like I've gotten to where I do still get jealous and petty, but then I move through it and come to that point where I'm like, why am I? You know, it's because like, and then it ends up helping you because you're like, maybe I just need to like try to get booked more instead of just being upset about not getting on.
Yeah, work on my jokes. Sit down and write more.
But yeah, I mean, comedy is like not getting included most of the time. That's what I think that's like the hardest part is like the audience doesn't laugh a lot. You don't get on shows a lot. Like you have to keep going. Don't you just see people just get destroyed by being like, why does everyone hate me? I mean, it's so hard to keep going. Well, it's so hard to keep going.
We're bookers, so we're on the other side.
Well, that's even worse. Everyone's like, why haven't you that booked person me? Started after me, and it's like,
why you booked that person and not me?
It's like you guys are setting up chairs and putting on shows. That person should book their own fucking show.
Yeah,
that's what I say.
You guys are the real heroes. You're setting up chairs. Like that's the reason there's shows because you guys do it. Like. Yeah.
And the reason that I have a show is because nobody was booking me. So I was like, bump this. I'm gonna make a dope ass show. And
David Baker never asked me to be on his podcast. I wouldn't have to do this at all, you know?
Then you could explain men's hormone cycles to a sweet little thing.
Yeah,
it's every 24 hours for men, in case you was wondering. It's every 28
for the
days
record,
for women.
I did book her, and I paid her.
Yeah.
Ben was my
70% of what I paid the men.
Ben was my first show.
Was that before you booked your own
comedy
shows?
Scene. Well, my first show that my mom came to was a variety show.
Okay, yeah.
For the gays.
Okay, yeah.
And then the first show I ever got booked within the comedy scene was by Ben. And it was a dark show, and it pushed me into the
That was most people in the comedy scene's first show, whether they still do or started or whatever. Because it's
I mean, y'all that run shows are the real heroes. I mean, that is part of there's many things about this podcast that are awesome, but it's some way to like promote other people and make a cool clip because it's like, it's so stressful, but it's like none of us would have any of this. Like Carrie Goff and Petey and them Cloud that run this show, I mean, fucking heroes. Like every week they set up all those chairs. Like
that's
people,
amazing.
a lot of new comics that are like, why am I not getting on shows? Really don't understand that's how important that is.
I will say
I did
infrastructure.
It just 'cause I went to Austin and I was like, let's do these cool things, and that's.
You went to Austin?
Yeah.
Was like recently with the
I went
post-COVID?
to Austin last
summer.
Okay.
Alexis Ramirez. She was like, "Hey, I've got tickets to Kill Tony. Do you want to come?" And I was like, well, okay. What's Kill Tony?
Was that the time she got up on it too?
Oh, that was the time.
Yeah.
Well, we went to the 10-year, and then so that was on Saturday, and then that Monday she got up on it because we stayed and we all like grinded. It was one of my favorite trips I've ever been on because we were hitting like 3 to 6 mics a day. Like if we could make it to it, we did. And it was just like this grind, and it was just so inspiring. And I came back and I was like, I'm alive. And I loved
She was messaging me a bunch of stuff. We should
like,
do this. We should do this. We should do this.
Let's go.
Oh, hell yeah. It wasn't just like, wow, these toxic men make me never want to pick up a microphone again.
The opposite.
I love that.
Well, in Austin.
I hear a lot of the other one.
In Austin is all dudes. Like,
yeah, right.
I got on Creek and Cave. I got on Comedy Mothership. Like, because there was so few females, we got pushed on all these mic. Like, it was amazing. I loved it.
And funny.
I had the best time. And then I came back and that's where I was like, hey, all my friends are musicians. Let's do a show.
Amanda puts on, I would argue, the best like local Greenville show. But hands down, Squeeze Box is the best show we have.
Thank you. It's just Killed Tony, but not mean.
Is it like 1 minute?
3 minute bucket pools.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so my partner, his band Quasi Quasar, they're an instrumental space funk band.
They're very good.
Yeah, and
like that.
they backline, and then 3 featuring acts, and then 3-minute bucket pools.
Yeah. It's like
But
a show.
what's nice about it is like having the band there is like a little security blanket, you know, because it's the first time you're not performing alone on stage. So it's I enjoy it. It's a good time.
That makes sense.
Ryan, are you a Star Wars guy?
Yeah, I mean, I loved it growing up. I don't know what it's become now. I can't keep up with it now.
That was not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I was
question-
diehard just on the 3 movies my whole childhood, but now it's like there's so
Okay.
many shows and
If you heard a band, this is my only complaint about your band,
Okay.
which is one of my favorite bands ever.
My band. It's not my band.
It's her band.
It's your show,
She's the
so-
mascot.
They're my friend boys.
it's like Tony's band. I mean,
Yeah.
If someone said space funk, what
Yeah.
song would you think of?
the first thing that popped in my head, which I'm not going to stick with, was "Some People Call Me the Space Cowboy." That's really not funk, though.
Fair enough.
Just has space in the title.
Space.
I'm stalling. I don't have anything.
It was
for
supposed to
space funk.
segue. You're
got
supposed to segue from my Star Wars question.
Okay.
Like I said, Star Wars. Is there a Star Wars space punk band that you would song you would think of?
You mean like the Cantina band? It's not really funk though. It's like jazz. That's kind of jazz.
It's
Space
jazzy.
jazz.
It's
Space
space
jazz.
jazzy. It's a little bit of funk,
which is
though.
even harder than real jazz.
Yeah.
Okay.
As we
Space jazz.
Space jazz. They got keys.
Isn't
we
there like
haven't
a
even thought
clarinet
about.
in
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
The-
dropping my
They
follow-up
They
question. It
didn't.
wasn't
They
good.
didn't play
The
it.
notes don't
They
stop
didn't
at G.
know
They got H
Cantina.
and I.
They
and-
didn't have the time to learn it.
They didn't know the Cantina song,
I'm
and I was
sure they
like,
can.
"It's space funk. It is space jazz. Actually, it's space
Space
I think it's an
jizz.
extremely difficult song to play. I think
Actually,
it's-
Space jazz?
canon in Star Wars, the jazz music is called jizz music. Jizz.
You would know
I am
that.
So
not
you were
making
like,
that up.
you guys play that extremely hard space jazz song that Jabba's band. They were like, no, and you're like, you guys don't know how to play that. Extremely obscure hard song.
And also, they
What
were
are you
not
guys, full-time
Jawas.
you guys
musicians?
suck, man. I bet Kill Tony's
I was like-
band could play that shit. And they probably
they knew
could.
Imperial
And they probably
March.
could.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they learned it.
It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
They also fucking
They were given
killed
a heads up,
Imperial
probably.
March.
It wasn't like
A little
somebody
bit of a
was
heads
like,
up.
A little bit of a
okay.
heads up. But they played it for me for my
like
walking
20
on
minutes
stage.
before. They had to go out to the car, and
They
the drummer had a little pad.
We try to like I do a pretty good job of like now like, hey, this month's show, anybody need anything, let us know, and then I let the band know.
She's
and,
amazing.
and so
And they did learn it.
They figure out pretty quickly.
So
They
you
did
went
a
to
great job.
Austin, and then you came back and kind of like assimilated that experience into your own. Were you doing the show before, or was it after? You kind of like
After.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
so,
you like really. You
It
didn't. It
really
wasn't just a
inspired
fleeting
her.
phase where you're like, this changed my life, and then you're the same person.
Oh, no,
You
it was the
actually.
best. Yeah.
That's the best when you actually follow through
Yeah.
on your
Well, thank
epiphanies. You
The
know?
hardest part
You should
was
do more
a
psychedelics.
venue.
Gotta keep
In
it-
Austin, Texas.
I loved Austin. I want to go back so badly.
That's cool to hear because
I had a really great
yeah,
experience.
I'm just always interested to hear what people have to say when they return from Austin.
I had the best time. Like I was so
Yeah.
inspired. Came back. I started a comedy Instagram page. So we had something because like out in Austin they had spreadsheets for open mics. They had all of this, and so like
Organized.
within the past few
Yeah.
years, we like between Ben and I, we got a tight little.
That's what it is, man.
little thing
Like, there's a
going.
guy, you guys know Justin Mays in Knoxville? I was talking to Coble about this, how, you got your people in your radius around you. So I go to Tennessee and know you guys from South Carolina, but y'all don't necessarily know each other because it's farther.
Absolutely.
But he's just a wonderful person who just sets up a lot of chairs every week. He runs the Don't
Absolutely.
Tells. He runs all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
And he just, it's you guys are the heroes, man.
Oh, you're
like,
kind.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
the
we
hardest
are.
part was finding a venue. We're
That's
on
hard.
our third venue for this show.
I had 3 venues get evicted this year.
Yeah. That's
Well,
amazing.
two.
So how long have you all been running
Yeah.
shows? What's the number of years? 'Cause-
I started. Let's see. We went to Austin in June.
Mhm.
I think my first show was July.
Wow.
With the full band and the
Wow.
comics. Yeah, it was pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
And then we hosted that one. 110 people sold out. It was one of the most magical nights of my life. However, the venue was terrible. They were very rude to the comics. Talked about how much they hate stand-up comedy. It's terrible.
That took me a second, yeah.
And then the
was
same
bad.
time, the second show, they like turned jazz.
Not that they hate. Not that they hate that show, but they hate stand-up comedy.
Stand-up
Stand-up
comics.
comics.
Yeah.
And are very vocal about it.
Very vocal. Told
We don't
every
even like this whole like art form. I was like, well, okay.
Well, no, it's a comedy venue,
Yeah.
just not a stand-up comedy
just not a
venue.
stand-up.
And we
Yeah.
won't go further than that.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it. You know,
It is wild.
It's like
And
it's
then-
like bombing in front of your dad, going bald, all of
Yeah,
it. You know,
all of it.
lose the competitions, do a show in a room where it doesn't, where it's all part of it. You have
is.
to.
It builds character.
Yeah,
Look at all
seriously.
this
It
character.
really
builds
does.
character.
I
The
cannot lose
suffering,
my hair.
the
okay?
humility. Like there's no way around it. Yeah,
Yeah, and then our second venue.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't choose to.
yeah,
Like,
they were super like willing, but they were
been
like.
well, but you seem like you'll
I'm
probably
gonna,
hold on to yours.
show you a picture. Of
Are you
my
using
brother.
Rogaine yet?
I'm about to start using
Yeah.
Rogaine. 100% support Rogaine. I'm on Keeps right now.
You could just use castor oil.
Castor oil.
Castor oil.
Castor, like pasture.
Castor. Castor.
Castor oil.
Yeah, castor oil helps your hair stay in. Argan oil helps it grow.
This was the sponsorship pause.
Nature,
and the-
you're not gonna win. You know, like that's just more weird
Yeah.
shit you're gonna have to start doing with your body.
How do you? Do men
Embrace
take
it.
prenatals? Can you take prenatals?
What?
I wonder.
I don't know.
What will prenatals do to you guys?
Fingernails?
I don't know. It's small enough. I don't want to find out.
Are you
Maybe-
small?
So tiny.
That's the after podcast.
I mean, you're not like short, are you?
Oh, it was a penis joke.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, because sometimes
Oh my leg.
I don't notice if people are tall or short because I'm not short, so I never.
Yeah.
So sometimes people are like, oh, I'm short, and I like honestly haven't noticed.
It's
it happens
so
to me a
hard
lot
to gauge.
because it's like that was just never my insecurity.
Yeah.
So I was-
Amanda is 1 inch taller than me.
I
I'm pretty
am
sure.
so. I mean,
You're six-
this is my insecure. Like
Yeah.
I can't find pants long enough, and then
Yeah.
on top of that, I always wear platforms. Just
You like being
because-
tall?
It took me a long time
Yeah.
to be tall, and then to be like a 6 foot tall
To own it.
female.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's why I didn't have any problems in Austin. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
don't fuck with me. Yeah, exactly. I had the best time.
There's
in
a new
Austin.
tall girl in town.
Yeah, exactly.
She's on all the shows.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I had the best time.
Yeah.
And then our second venue, they didn't want to support us at all. Like they were like, we're not promoting the show, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then more events unfolded. And now we have our third venue, which we just kicked back up in August.
Fantastic venue.
Fantastic. I've been trying to get in this venue for as long as I wanted to
probably
run the
should
show.
have
And it's like I would even say
Swanson's
like
Warehouse is the best.
if you can do the shitty ones that don't work, by the time you get to the right one, it's like
Oh
you don't
my
want your first girlfriend to be your wife. You know,
Yeah.
you need to have some shitty
yeah,
ones.
test drive.
So it's like, yeah, then you like you get to the right room and you're like,
Yeah.
all right, I've learned a few things. I'm not gonna fuck up the good one now.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah. So
for
our
at least a while.
we had a break from March, and then we finally got into Swanson's Warehouse in August. So
Yeah.
we run a show once a month, the first Wednesday of every month.
It's
And
very fun.
Hell yeah.
it's so great to like have a venue that supports you and like
Yeah.
wants to be a part of the show.
yeah.
And it's like mind blowing. And
Yeah.
I'm like, is this real life?
Yeah, and you have to learn those things. I mean, it's like people can give you advice, but you have to, doing like a show in a place. I've run shows where the staff really isn't on board. Like they're not going to let you tell somebody to be quiet, and you're like, okay, well, I guess next time I need to have the conversation with the venue. Be like, hey, we are trying to have it be a listening room. So
Staff
if I
loves
need to
you.
tell somebody to be quiet, will you guys have my back?
The staff loves
Yeah.
her and they
Yeah.
love the comics. They're very.
We're just doing our best.
Hell yeah.
We actually have Sarah Love on December 4th.
Hell
She's
yeah.
headlining.
Yeah,
Squeeze
Sarah's
Box.
crushing it. She's getting all
Yeah.
over the place. It's cool
I
to see.
just saw she's all over.
You know, she's like sending out the
Tennessee.
emails and doing the stuff. You know,
That's
which is like you got to
She's
do it.
on our show tomorrow.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Well, do you guys
Oh,
want to
yeah.
call it? It's 8:30. We've done
Oh,
an hour and a
my
half. So
lantern.
Good Lord.
I mean, I could keep
Yeah,
going, but we want to do the mic.
No, that's
I would
too much.
What time
yeah.
does the mic start?
It started at 8.
30 minutes.
So yeah, so that's what we should probably
cut
show our
it
faces
off.
down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Come
This-
see
Amanda.
Greenville
Yeah.
Comedy. Follow Greenville SC
Yeah.
Comedy on Instagram. Amanda started it, and then she's like, "This is too much." Ben,
And then I
help
was like,
me.
I don't like it.
And so we run Greenville SC Comedy. There's the face reveal, actually, the official
Dun
one.
dun dun.
Uh,
Everybody knows.
I'll link
Most
it in the
everybody
description
knows.
if you guys could help me remember. Just like DM me
It's
anything you
great.
want me to link.
It's
Uh,
fine. Ours,
Adamant.
our Instagrams. Follow us. We both run shows.
Yeah.
Several other bookers in the area. They're fantastic and wonderful comics.
We love to collab.
We like to collab.
Yeah, let's do cool things together because why not? You sound like you're quite the musician. We should
Oh yeah.
let's hang out.
I got a shed with all the stuff. I got a shed. I finally got a shed. with
Bodies.
a drum set, bodies, bass, guitar. If you ever want to come, just like make sounds in the shed.
His
It's
third
basically
kid.
like this, but we just
Listen, I play a mean tambourine.
yeah.
Yeah. I got multi
A
I
mandarin.
mean, you don't have to be in a key or anything. I just like
and an egg
Get weird.
shaker. Yeah. Yeah, let's hang out sometime.
Let's do it.
For real. I know we just.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
right.
Thanks
This
for
is fun.
thanks for having
Bye.
us.
Yeah,
We appreciate
bye-bye.
it.
I'm gonna use the toilet.
Leave that part in.